So I will watch the chat and see if anybody wants to chat with me. And otherwise, hello to Academy Impossible and Fix Lovin'. Good to see y'all here. I'll watch the chat. If anybody has questions for me, I'm glad to answer them. I should have picked my topic before the live stream. Unfortunately, I was writing up a little something about my goals for my community, and so I could share that with you. So let me go to my document. Alrighty. So my live stream is Monday through Saturday, 8 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. I am on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Well, I don't know if I can say eastern seaboard. I'm in Ringgold, Georgia. Georgia is called the Keystone State at times, but there are other states with that name. But it's the southern Keystone State, I guess you would say. Heart of the South. You may be familiar with Atlanta, Georgia. I was born there, actually, so I'm an Atlanta native. We're rare. Most everybody else was transferred in from someplace else. So, you don't have to have a Twitch account, as you probably know, to watch me. If you want to join the chat, you need a Twitch account. But if you want to join in the conversation and don't want to create a Twitch account, here's how you can. My purpose for having this live stream is to raise awareness around disability issues. Where the discussion lives as far as which social media platform or what, that doesn't matter to me. It matters where y'all want it. So I want to build a community around sharing accurate, truthful info and caring for members of it. So I'd like everyone who participates to please watch your language, because there, I hope, will eventually be families with children participating. So I want to, let's see. And I do have a bot on Twitch that intercepts anything that might be profane or hateful. And I've got it set to the highest settings, so your comment may be blocked, and you may be saying, why was my comment blocked? It doesn't have anything in there. So if you're in that situation, don't worry, I'll take a look and see what the bot caught. So anyway, continuing my goals for my community around this live stream, I want, let's see, I've talked about that. If you want to be a moderator, please ask. I would love to have a human moderator instead of a bot moderator, or working with the bot moderator. And to continue the conversation, whatever you type on Twitch is gone when the live stream ends. So that's why I chose not to allow, if you want to share something with me, the links go away after the live stream's over. So I don't think that's really useful. I'll share some links in the chat while I'm talking about them, and those will be available on the recording of this live stream, which I put on my YouTube under Dennis Stories. So my Dennis Cole YouTube is the one where these chats go. My gaming stuff goes on the ADMA YouTube account, which may be confusing. So let's see, what else did I want to say? I've made 2 family-oriented social media places that are safe for children to come in with their parents. So I've got a Discord site under GrannyHandicap, and my username is ADMAYA hashtag 3641. And under it, I have 2 servers. I have ADMAYA and I have GrannyHandicap. So I thought about the ADMAYA one mainly being a place for handicapped gamers. The GrannyHandicap one is for everybody, and that's for discussing handicaps, disabilities, and if you've got clients who are disabled, or if you've got a relative or a friend who's disabled. I want this to be a safe place for everybody to come in, ask your questions, and maybe as the community grows, if I can't answer it, maybe somebody else has experience with that particular disability and can answer a question. So I'm building a community here so we can support each other and so we can raise awareness of disability issues. Because the reason that I decided to add my voice is because when I was looking on Twitch, most of the disability channels that came up were for mature audiences, or they openly said that you can cuss here, and that's fine if they want to have that. But on my channel, I want it to be family friendly. I don't want bad language. I don't want a whole bunch of raucous talk. So that's why I decided that it might be needed for there to be a community where, it's safe for parents to bring their kids and everybody talk. Everybody needs their voice heard. And I'm not going to exclude anyone, regardless of their beliefs, their religion, their sexual orientation, their culture, even language. I mean, if you can understand English, you're welcome. And if you have trouble understanding English, bring a friend with you who does understand English who can translate for you. Or use Google Translate as a last resort. I don't think it's incredibly accurate because of a thing called idioms. That's when you have a phrase that's maybe a traditional phrase in your language that has a certain meaning. If you pick it apart and you go word for word, it doesn't mean the same thing. English is full of idioms. Probably every language in the world is full of idioms. So you've got these phrases that if you look at the individual meanings of the words, it's like, what? But it means a certain thing. So it's very hard for Google Translate to translate idioms accurately. So this is why it might be a good idea to have a person, because people think better than AIs, as far as how you interpret a certain phrase maybe in a language if you're translating it to English or translating it from English. So I want to promote understanding. So I understand a tiny bit of German, even less Spanish. I can hardly say me llama Dennis Cole, which is my name is Dennis Cole. So I have a friend in Italy who's tried to teach me Italian, and my mind is like a sieve. So, and in Russian I can say Здравствуйте, как вы поживаете, which is hello, how are you? But that's about it. I can ask you where the restaurant is. Скажите, пожалуйста, где restaurant? So I know a few phrases in other languages, but I'm totally not a linguist, and I don't understand a lot of anything but English. So I'm not much use as a translator, I will put it that way. But I want everybody to be welcome in my community. And that means if you use a certain social media platform, say you've got a Facebook account and you've been using it for years and you don't want to go create another account on another social media if all you're using is Facebook. That's fine with me. Let's create a community on Facebook for everybody that's on Facebook and doesn't want to create something somewhere else. I will go wherever y'all are. So I have a lot of social media accounts. A few of those links are on my Twitch account. And if y'all want me to create accounts on other social media platforms, I'm game. Tell me what platform you want me to be on, and I will create an account there. So I want everybody to have the freedom to use whatever platform they want. I put a lot of work into my my Discord and my Reddit because it has tools to keep kids safe, and especially Discord. You can do something with a private link that you don't put on the internet, so you only get the members who want to be there. And you don't get anybody heckling people, So this is to protect children. So I have, I put a lot of time into my Discord site, but you can't have a direct link to it. You just have to create an account on, it's www.discord.com. And then you can, okay, Kitty is coming through. That's Corrine. So, on Discord, you create your account and then you look up ADMA hashtag 3641. And then you find my two servers. I have an ADMA server and I have a GrannyHandicap server. So anything regarding gaming is my ADMA self, and anything that is generally social issues, and of course, this is all about disabilities. So my GrannyHandicap account is specifically to talk about disabilities. But if you don't want to get on Discord, if you're on Reddit, I have a GrannyHandicap Reddit. And Reddit also gives me a few tools to set some ground rules and for the protection of children, for parents with children that want to join the discussion and not have their children exposed to bad language. So I'm all for that. But otherwise, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on, of course, the Discord and Reddit and Twitch. I'm also on YouTube under ADMA for my gaming stuff, and Dana Stories for my writing self and my streaming GrannyHandicap self. So I'm wearing all these hats. So just to reiterate, if there's a link you want to share to me, you may notice if you try to put a link in Twitch, it won't let you. And the main reason is because I want to make absolutely sure that if there are children present, that inappropriate links aren't shared. But as far as if you want to share something with me, I'm on Twitter a bunch. So if you put a hashtag GrannyHandicap on there, I will see it. If you want to leave me a note on my Facebook page, I've got a GrannyHandicap page, but I've also got the Dennis Cole account. You're very welcome to be my friend on Facebook and post there. If you're more comfortable on another site, let me know and I will go join it. I want my community to be able to communicate the way that y'all want to, not the way that I say, well, you got to go to this site if you want to, no. This community can be spread out over as many sites as we need to, and it just spreads the word more on different social media, so it's a good thing. I want people to know what it's like for disabled people, because I think the vast majority of people have no clue until they either become disabled or they have a family member, friend, or maybe they go to school with somebody that's disabled and they want to know more. So I want there to be open discussion. Oh, I need to plug in my computer. I forgot again. So let me do that real quick. And now that I've been reading off my sheet, I need to come back over to Twitch and look at the chat. Oh, Inspired Virtuosa, hi! Oh, cool! You know German, yay! I can say, ich bin eine Amerikaner, einer, because, yeah, I get my articles mixed up, so you'll have to forgive me. It has been years since I had German. But I can say, let's see, es gefällt mir, Deutsche zu sprechen. Well, as far as you're entitled to your opinion on Facebook, but most of the people I went to school with are only on Facebook. So it's like, I don't particularly like it, especially since they took links away. You can still put links when you post, but it's not as easy as it was. And one thing I love about Twitter is you can put a link, and most websites that have news have a Twitter link, and then you can back up your opinion with some facts. So, yeah, I'm still going to keep my Facebook there for anyone that is a Facebook fan and they don't want to use anything else, but I'm not on it very much. So I kind of agree with you. But, now, as far as if you want an account on some place that's an adult site, I don't do that. So, if you like kitties, then I'm right there with you. We have 2 cats and a silky terrier, and they get along very well, and we love them. So, our cats are very friendly, and they'll usually come check out whoever comes. And we love it. And I personally agree with the Delta Society that studies pet-human interactions, that having a pet definitely reduces your blood pressure. There's a lot of comfort that comes from having a cat, being able to stroke the cat, having them do such cute things that distract you from anything that's going on. So, yeah, we love our kitties around here. So, Inspired Virtuosa, do you have any questions for me, or do you want me to just keep on talking? And that's fine too. Let's see. Let me look back on here. Well, as far as cussing, on Twitch, generally you can cuss, but I have a bot running to intercept any bad language. So if you say bad language, it won't show up. So if you know, and Oh, you thought I was 48? Yeah, I have my gray hairs. It's, I have some over here too. But my hair never really turned gray, and my grandfather was the same way. And actually, my mom, she had salt, pepper, and black. I mean, she had black hair. So she got gold and silver in her hair, and I have got mine has always been auburn, but it looks very brown now because I've got black hairs, I've got gold hairs, and I've got silver hairs with the auburns. I guess I look younger because of that. So, have you got a particular disabled topic or disability topic? I shouldn't say disabled topic. Topic about disability. Have you got something that's a hot button for you that you would like me to talk about? And if I don't see anything, I'll just keep on going. And if nobody has a particular topic that they want me to do, I think I'll go ahead and think of a topic. I've been talking this week about grief and disability. I've talked about end-of-life decisions. I've talked about, because I had a relative who died of COVID in the hospital. So I'm really worried about his wife, we're very close. So, yeah. She's home now, though. So that's a blessing. It's a real blessing. But I'm encouraging everybody, please get the vaccine. Don't go through what they went through in the hospital. It was horrible. And it was very horrible for my daughter and I, worrying about them being in the hospital. It affects everybody around you. So I hope that more people will get vaccinated. The fact that FDA hasn't yet given anything but an emergency authorization to the vaccines does not mean they're not safe, because millions of people have gotten these vaccinations between the three countries, and no long-term effects from any of them have been reported. So you would think that with a sample size that big, you would know about any major problems with the vaccine. So the vaccine's good. You may have some short-term problems. Your arm may hurt. I have a little solution for that. When you get your shot, if you just shake your arm like this, and get it in your dominant arm. That's what a fireman told me. If you're right-handed, get your right arm done. If you're left-handed, get your left arm done. And what happens is, as you use that dominant arm, then it kind of makes less soreness the more you use it. It doesn't sound like it would be that way, but it is. It's much like when you exercise and that lactic acid builds up in your muscle and it hurts real bad the next day. But if you exercise and you're doing exercise, maybe you're increasing your exercise from the day before and you just want to make sure you don't get that soreness, shaking out your muscles is a very good thing to do because it spreads out the lactic acid. And in the case of the vaccine, it probably spreads out the vaccine a little more so it's not concentrated in one spot. So, when I got both of my shots, that day I was just every once in a while just shaking my arm. And of course I have all this fat. Oh my gosh, I need to lose weight. But, if you just shake your muscles out, and if you don't have flab that goes like that, it doesn't matter. You can, if you've got nice muscles and you don't have any flab, you can still do that motion. Just kind of shake your arm, and it will spread out that spread out the vaccine so it's not quite as sore the next day. It's still going to be sore. I didn't feel the shot at all either time, and I'm very sensitive to pain, so they were very good at giving them. But, oh, my arm was so sore the next day I could hardly move it. It was like, oh! But I was gaming, I was using my mouse, I was, exercising, because I'm in bed all day, so I will get up every once in a while and walk. I made 9 laps between the bedroom and the living room today, so I'm trying to increase it by 1 every day. So today I made 9 laps, and I stood up and sat down 4 times, which is 1 more than yesterday. So I'm trying to exercise and lose some of this weight. I can't do what normal people can do, but hey, as long as you're increasing the exercise gradually, that's how my physical therapist told me to do it. So I'm following good advice there. So I don't see any topics, so I'm just going to go on. So let me think. Well, since I'm talking about exercise, why don't I make it disability and exercise? So exercise can be one of those things that is a touchy subject. If you've got constant pain, you and exercise are not going to get along. And I do have constant pain. I have fibromyalgia. So the pain is not a signal that something's wrong like it usually is. In me, it's just a constant thing. It never goes away. And like my pain level today is about a 6 out of 10. Sometimes it gets up to 8. If it gets up to 8.5, I'm crying. It's bad. But I don't have many bad days like that right now. Something changed and I'm not having quite as much pain as I used to have. I used to have 8 days every day. Now I'm averaging 6 to 7, so I feel good about that because I'm functional, very functional at 6. So, exercise and disability. And I am taking notes. I've found that when I look up links, it's good for me to have something so I can tweet them out later. So today is 11 August 2021. So I'm going to have my topic and all right. So of course, disabilities can be physical and they can be mental. But I'm going to talk about the physical aspect of disability for those with physical disabilities today, because I've been concentrating a lot on the mental health issues. So I want to kind of balance it out. So today we're going to be talking about physical disabilities. I am mobility disabled, so I have balance problems, and I usually either use a walker or just hold on to door facings and furniture as I go through the house. And when I go to the doctor's office, a lot of times I opt for my manual wheelchair, and I miss my power chair, which Medicaid decided not to get me a new one when my other one quit. So it didn't actually quit. The tires got too bald to make it up my ramp. So I couldn't afford to fix the tires, and I didn't know how much longer the motors were going to go, because typically motorized wheelchairs just quit. They don't go bad gradually, and I got solid tires. They inject something into the tire so that it's solid and you don't have to keep putting air in it. It saves a lot of maintenance. So it's really difficult for me that I can't take my power chair down the ramp and roll around my mobile home complex here. I miss that. And if I go out in the wheelchair, my daughter has to push it, and she has a bad knee. She has arthritis in her knee. So it's hard. It's just hard. I really like to be able to go out and get some sunshine, and it's, my vitamin D tends to get low because I'm inside all the time, so I'm taking maybe a little more vitamin D than just the multivitamin to try to prevent it from going really low. And I can pretty much tell by how I feel. If I really feel just exhausted all the time, then I know, it's probably vitamin D. And I'll take some extra vitamin D, and if in a couple of days of that I feel better, then I know, it was vitamin D. So I don't recommend taking extra vitamin D unless you are not outside. If you have a reason that you can't be outside every day, and really I need to do more going out, but all this week it's been rainy, so I haven't been able to get out at all. And I'm going to have to go out tomorrow and get my allergy shots, which I haven't been able to get for a couple of weeks because I went to a doctor's appointment and they checked my daughter and she had 101. It was like, oh my gosh. So we had to stay away for a couple of weeks, so we've got to remake that appointment. But we thought maybe it was COVID because we were sick July 4th. And for a couple of weeks, both of us were feeling really crummy. We lost part of our sense of smell and all that. So, but we are vaccinated, so we didn't go get tested. And if you don't get tested soon enough, or if you get tested too early, you'll get a false negative. So we went after we were pretty much feeling better, and it wasn't COVID. So either we were still feeling bad and it was COVID, or it was just a virus, or maybe a flu, or, we don't know. Whatever it was, it blew over, and maybe we got something else, because we were just getting over whatever it was July 4th, and maybe we got sick again. It's possible. But anyway, we've been on quarantine for a couple of weeks, so now I'm going to go back and get my allergy shots. I can't go when you're sick, you have to quarantine. So anyway, lots of stuff happening in the news. The announcement that, more and more people are getting those breakthrough cases of COVID-19, but only 0.5% of them are ending up in the hospital. So the vaccines still work. It doesn't prevent you from getting COVID, but you're going to get a mild case of COVID. You're not going to end up in the hospital. So it's good. I still feel like I'm protected even after all the sickness this month. And we have B positive blood. And one of the things they've found out during COVID is if you have A or B blood, you have a lower immune system than people with A, B, or O. And I may be a little wrong on that. They're still doing research. But today we're talking about exercise when you're disabled. So let me look up something and see what comes up. I'm using Google, and I'm just going to type in exercise and disability. And we'll see what we see. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Let's see what the CDC says. Okay, I'm going to share this link. I'm going to put it there first. Okay. CDC, physical activity for all. And I'll share this link. And then we'll talk about it. So, coming back over here. You think Google is bad? Well, we all have our favorite search engines, but I do a lot of scholarly research for my science fiction writing, and I find that I get better answers from Google than I do other search engines. When I used to work in a library in the reference department, all the librarians were saying, oh, Google is the best. You can find everything. And this was back when the professors were getting the librarians to search. And it was so much a minute. So they had to get quick answers for, research for professors who were actively scientists doing research. So, actually Google wasn't the first. There was Alta Vista, there was Dogpile, which I refused to use because that was offensive to me. And there were a lot of other search engines, but Google was the first that you could really find out information. The others were so inaccurate. You'd look up something and you'd have to sift through all this stuff that wasn't even related to what you put in. Google was the first one that you could really put in a specific search and get specific answers. And it's just gotten better, I think. I've been using it since 1995, so, I really like it. And I have tried other engines from time to time just to see if they've improved any, and I really like Google, and I've used Yahoo. I really don't like Yahoo, and I get more spam mail in my Yahoo account after I use Yahoo, so I don't get very much spam in my Google mail at all. So that's how I gauge how good the email service is how much spam gets in my box. I still have the Yahoo account, but I don't use it very much. Well, I say I still have it. Yahoo cuts you off after a while, so maybe I don't have it. I haven't checked in with it in a while. But, Yahoo kind of got out of the search engine business, so I don't know what others are out there now. Which search do you use? Because I'm curious, what search engines are other people using? And I think my bot censored you. But, oh, okay. DuckDuckGo? Yeah. I've tried it. For what I use it for, it hasn't done it for me. I'm always willing to try one, but I've compared results and I got a lot closer to what I was looking for with Google than I did with DuckDuckGo. It's been a couple of years since I've compared it, so I might try it again to see if DuckDuckGo has improved any, but it's difficult because all the tech companies have a different algorithm that they use for their searches. So, you get very different search results from using different search engines. And some are specialized search engines. So they'll, if you're interested in whatever, it might be tailored to what you're looking for. It really depends. Everybody's individual in what they're searching. But for my writing, when you write science fiction, you're researching all sorts of things, anything from startpage.com. I've never heard of that one. I can try it, and maybe if enough people suggest search engines, I'll do a search on all of them and tell you what my results were. Because for one of my science fiction novels, I had to research head injuries a lot. So I was looking in a lot of Journal of American Medical Association. I was looking in a lot of scholarly sources to try to find information. So, and I often look up topics in psychology that are rather technical. So I use a lot of sources that normal people would not, well, I wouldn't say normal, but your average person is not going to be looking in JAMA for stuff about a medical condition. You're probably going to use WebMD or maybe CDC. I go on National Institutes of Health a lot, and they have a lot of research. They'll have the studies, and I'll read through the study and see what I think about it. And so I do a lot of that sort of research. So your mileage may vary. If you're just wanting to know what's the tallest building in the world or something, you can use just about any search engine and get a correct answer. But it depends on what floats your boat. For me, Google does. But I can kind of do a comparison search on those and just come back and tell you what I learned. I'd be willing to do that. I try to keep an open mind. I don't want to get locked into a certain way of thinking or a certain routine because of habit. A lot of people my age tend to be more rigid in their thinking. I've always been a Republican, so I'm going to be a Republican no matter what. I tend to vote my conscience. I am not a card-carrying Democrat or Republican. I like the Democrats right now, but really, if somebody was running and they were Republican and I thought they were going to do the best job, I would vote for them. I don't have loyalty to a particular party. I just vote my conscience. So, I'm like that about everything. I like to try new foods. I've got a friend who won't try anything new. She just eats the same stuff all the time. There's nothing wrong with either of you. But for me, I'd like to try new things. So we, we'll see a can of something we haven't seen before at the grocery store, and it's like, I wonder what that tastes like. So we'll try it. Some things. I have not tried insects. I have thought about trying insects, and I just can't. Oh my. But, so I draw lines some places. I don't like anchovies on pizza, but I like trying new things, and usually when I've tried something new, I've liked it. So Chipotle I didn't like, but I tried it. So, you know, I'm pretty much willing to try new things and just see, you know, what this is all about, especially foods. I love to try new foods. Of course, I'm 230 pounds. I'm trying to lose. That's so hard. When you're not physically active like I'm not, it's very, very hard to lose weight. And I love my sweets. I do love ice cream. And caramel, what is it? Okay. I got distracted. My antivirus is expiring soon. I have until the end of August, so I don't know why it's screaming at me now. But, okay, what is that caramel stuff called? Something de leche. Okay, well, my Rose, I'm glad to see you, and thanks for hopping in. Appreciate your input. And I will try those other search engines and see if I think they're good. For me, for my purposes. They're fine for you, no matter what they're like. So have a good night and have a good sleep. So back to, let's see, what's my noise? Bye-bye. So I'm changing back to the subject for the evening, which is exercise and disability. So I found an article. Let's go through it. Okay, physical activity for people with disability. This is from the CDC. Everybody needs physical activity for good health. However, less than half of U.S. adults with serious difficulty walking or climbing stairs, a mobility disability, report engaging in aerobic physical activity. For those who are active, walking is the most common physical activity, and I personally think walking is the best exercise you can do. Here are some ways that people with disability can stay active and healthy. So according to the Physical Activity Guidelines for Americans, 2nd edition, physical activity can help control weight, improve mental health, and lower the risk for early death, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and some cancers. Physical activity can also improve mental health by reducing depression and anxiety. For people with disabilities, physical activity can help support daily living activities and independence. Any amount of physical activity that gets your heart beating faster can improve your health. Some activity is better than none. For even greater health benefits, the guidelines recommend that all adults with or without disabilities get at least 150 minutes, that's 2.5 hours, of aerobic physical activity per week. Activities can be broken down into smaller amounts, such as about 25 minutes a day every day. Muscle strengthening activities such as adapted yoga or working with resistance bands provide additional health benefits. So, under the section People with Disabilities, 1 in 4 U.S. adults is living with a disability. And that statistic comes from 26% of adults in the United States have some type of disability. That's 1 in 4. I've been quoting 1 in 5. But this is from the CDC. So, yeah, 13.7 of us are mobility disabled, serious difficulty walking or climbing stairs. 10.8% have it in cognition, serious difficulty concentrating, remembering, or making decisions. I'm going to copy this link and put it down here too. CDC says 1 of 4 Americans have difficulty walking or climbing stairs. And there's the link. So let me make sure I got that right. Whoop. Do that. Let's see. Oh, have some type of disability. Okay, so the percentage of people living with disabilities is highest in the South. Wow. And I live in the South, so that makes sense. I've seen a lot of people with disabilities that were obvious to me. So, all right, that's just have a disability. Okay, so 1 in 4 Americans have some type of disability. All right, so I'm going to put that here. So that's 1 in 4 of us. That's a bigger percentage than I previously thought. So CDC, okay. 1 in 4 adults is living with a disability. Defined as serious difficulty walking or climbing stairs, that's me. Deafness or serious difficulty hearing. Blindness or serious difficulty seeing. Serious difficulty concentrating, remembering, or making decisions. I'm beginning to have some of that. Difficulty doing errands alone. That's me. Or difficulty dressing or bathing. I have to have help with that. Adults with disabilities are more likely to have obesity, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, or cancer than adults without disabilities. Well, I have obesity. I don't have the other ones, so thank goodness. I'm counting my blessings. Physical activity can reduce the risk and help manage these chronic conditions. So, next heading is be active to stay healthy. Many adults with disabilities and chronic health conditions can participate in regular physical activity. However, it's important to consult with a healthcare professional or physical activity specialist. So your physical therapist or your doctor or a nurse, probably best to check with your doctor, and your doctor will know what all your health conditions are, and he can kind of guide you as to how much exercise is okay. You have to understand how your disability or health condition affects your ability to safely do physical activity. So here's some options. Being active in your neighborhood. Engaging in physical activity outdoors can help improve your physical health as well as your mental health and well-being. Most people can walk, including people with disabilities who are able to walk or move with the use of assistive devices, such as wheelchairs or walkers, and I use both. In fact, walking is the most common form of physical activity reported among active adults with mobility disability. Unfortunately, adults with disabilities like me report fewer neighborhood environmental supports such as sidewalks, public transit, and walkable shops, and more barriers such as traffic, crime, and animals for walking than those without disabilities. To improve this, resources were created to help promote the development of supportive environments for walking for individuals with disabilities. So there's a link to an article there. So, yeah, I have lived in a lot of neighborhoods that did not have sidewalks, and I have taken the bus to a lot of Walmarts with no sidewalks. Now, talk about dangerous. It is a real barrier for a person with a mobility disability when you're let off of the bus and you've got a steep hill to climb to get to your Walmart. They're never close to the street, so you may have to travel a long way to get to your Walmart. So it's very difficult if you don't have a sidewalk and you're competing with traffic. We really need to have sidewalks in every community, and we need to have ways to be able to walk to a store near our home with not having the fences in the way. There need to be walkways for people so that they can get to places without having to jump in a car, because what if you don't have a car? You might be too disabled to drive. So if you can't drive and you're dependent on public transportation, then it's a lot more danger. I have almost been run over in crosswalks, both when I was walking with a cane, walking with elbow crutches, or walking in, being pushed in my wheelchair, or using my power chair. It's scary how often I came close to a vehicle without wanting to be that close, and I had allowed plenty of time and room, but maybe the traffic light didn't last long enough for me to get all the way across, or people jumped the gun on the light and almost hit me. Very dangerous. So, being active in your home. Being active in your home can also be a good option, and that's what I'm doing. Here are some resources that can help you stay physically active while at home. The National Center on Health, Physical Activity, and Disability. Wow, I didn't know they existed. They've created a playlist of the top exercise from home videos on their YouTube channel. Oh, I gotta get into this. The playlist for kids and adults includes several options for all abilities to help you choose an exercise mode that works for and is enjoyable to you. NCHPAD also offers a 14 Weeks to a Healthier You program. This program is a free, personalized, web-based physical activity and nutrition program for individuals with disabilities and chronic health conditions. Hey, I think I'm going to do that. Special Olympics Fit 5 resources challenge individuals to live by the 3 simple goals of staying active 5 days per week, eating fruits and vegetables, and drinking 5 bottles full of water each day. 5 bottles of water. This is a hard goal for me. Wow. It includes fitness cards and videos that offer simple exercises to target endurance, strength, and flexibility, all of which can be done at home. So that's wonderful resources. Wow, from the CDC. Okay, decide how much physical activity is right for you. Pick an activity you enjoy. For example, gardening, doing chores around the house, wheeling yourself around in your wheelchair, walking briskly, or dancing. Believe it or not, I do still dance. I just have to hold on to something when I dance now. And find ways to include your favorite physical activity into your everyday life. sometimes when I'm standing there washing my hands, I'll just kind of dance while I'm doing this number, you know, and that way I've got my body moving while I am standing there washing my hands. I can't stand there more than 30 seconds because I start feeling sick, but I try to find ways to move around in bed, you know, do arm circles and stuff like that. And especially if I'm gaming for hours, then I'll stop every once in a while and just kind of do some flexibility and some motion, range of motion and stuff like that, so that I can, you know, keep as active as I can. So at least I'm doing something right there. Okay, what CDC and our partners are doing. CDC's Disability and Health Promotion Branch within the Division of Human Development and Disability supports and provides funding for 2 national centers on disability that focus on improving the quality of life for people living with disabilities, including their physical activity level. See, now if I hadn't looked this up, I wouldn't know about these things. This is terrific. So the 2 websites they give is the National Center on Health, Physical Activity, and Disability, that's NCHPAD, and Special Olympics Health. So I'm definitely going to be going to those websites and see what I can do. The branch also supports 19 state-based disability and health programs to promote equal access to opportunities for optimal health, prevent diseases like type 2 diabetes and heart disease, and increase the quality of life for people with disabilities. Learn more about these state disability and health programs. So I'm going to go to that link in a minute. In addition, to make it easier for people to be active, CDC works with communities and partners across the country as part of the Active People, Healthy Nation initiative. The goal of this initiative is to help 27 million Americans become more physically active by 2027 to improve overall health and quality of life and reduce health care costs. So, CDC disability resources. There are a whole bunch of links here for disability and physical activity, healthy living, physical activity guidelines for Americans, second edition, which they quote from, National Centers on Disability, CDC Disability and Health Promotion, and CDC National Center on Birth Defects and Developmental Disabilities. So cool. All these resources. CDC, I love you. This is wonderful. So let's go to, let's see. Let's look at the state disability and health programs first. And I will, okay, I'll take a look at this and see what the, Georgia is one of the state-based program awardees for 2021 to 2026. So, nice. Okay. Oh, the Georgia State University Foundation Incorporated. I went to Georgia State University for a number of years, so yeah. Cool, that's my alma mater, one of them. BYU is another one that I went to, and Kennesaw State University. I also went there. So cool. Georgia State University Foundation, love it. So I'm going to click the Georgia link and see where it takes me. Or is that a link? Okay, well, alrighty, maybe there's not a link to my state's program. Okay, but Disability and Health Promotion definitely has a lot of good information, and you just get to that page from the other link I sent you. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go to the National Center on Health, Physical Activity, and Disability and see what they have. This is cool. Alrighty. They have all sorts of, oh, cool. That's neat. Oh. NCHPAD is seeking people with disability, caregivers, health experts, researchers, and policymakers to participate in an innovative project. So let me learn more. Cool. That is neat. So they're inviting people to a focus group which will take place over Zoom, and I already have Zoom, so that is really cool. Neat. I'm interested in participating, so I'm going to go ahead. I have a disability. No, I'm not a researcher. Yes, I'm 18. Cool. Well, this is neat. Well, that was easy to sign up for. Oh, what? I wasn't eligible? Wow. Okay, well, they didn't ask me if I was mobility disabled. Well, that's disappointing. Maybe there's a different page. Oh well, that's sad. Let's go back. Okay, well, maybe I misread something. I might take the thing again. All right, but the definitely that's cool. Special Olympics Health. Let's see what they've got. Oh, that's for people with intellectual disabilities. I guess I don't, yeah, I don't qualify for that. So, but it's a great thing if you've got a child or a friend with intellectual disabilities. So that is really cool. Okay, that's neat. Okay, cool. All right, so that's neat, but definitely the National Center on Health, Physical, let's see, it's a mouthful. NCHPAD is easier to say. I'm going to mark that, and I'm going to, yeah, definitely put that under medical. Let's see. Medical and disability. Well, that's really neat. And they have a category, they have a section on the web page on disability and aging. So that's right up my alley. Balance training for fall prevention. That is cool. And they've got a YouTube channel.
Is that Instagram? My upright vibrates every time.
Okay. I'm going to subscribe to that. Yay. Alrighty. And I'm going to share it to Twitter. Cool. I need that. Fall prevention, I've done some videos. Not done some videos. I've watched some videos on fall prevention and done the exercises, and I've also had a physical therapist work with me, so it's probably time for a refresher for me. So I'm going to tweet that out. Very good. Aww. Aww. Okay. Let's see. All right. And now. All right. So we've talked about that a little bit. Let's go back and see what else comes up for exercise and disability. Alrighty, here's another one. Here's another site, so let me put that here. Okay, I'm going to put this link down here. Okay. And here's another one on staying active despite physical activity, physical disabilities. Okay, so let's go over here and take a look at this site. This is health.gov, and there are quick tips on staying active with a disability. So, regular physical activity is good for everyone's health, including people with disabilities. Getting active can help you strengthen your heart, build strong muscles, relieve stress, improve your mood, and feel better about yourself. Before you start, talk to your doctor about the types and amounts of physical activity that are right for you. When I was in the hospital last October and I had to have an emergency appendectomy, when I went home, the folks at the hospital, my doctor came and talked to me about having home health for a little bit. And among the professionals that came were an occupational therapist and a physical therapist. And they came out for about 6 weeks and they coached me on some good activities for my activity level and my physical health. And I'm still doing those things. I'm still walking between the bedroom and the living room. I'm still standing up and sitting down, and I'm going to add more of that. But I also do a lot of arm circles and leg circles and pull my legs up and stretch them and let them down slowly. And, I didn't mean to disturb you. I was just lifting my legs up. Come back, Corrine. Corrine. Oh no, there goes my kitty. Oh. But there are lots of things you can do, especially gamers. Exercise your hands every few minutes. You know, if you're in a game, usually there are these natural breaks that come. Either you finish a boss fight or you finish a race or whatever game you're playing. There's usually some activity that is intense for a while, and then you're finished with it and you can decide to do other things. Well, while you're doing that, why don't you exercise your hands? You know, put all of your joints through the range of motion. This is something I learned from an arthritis foundation course that I took. You know, it's good to put all of your joints through their entire range of motion every day. So, you know, start with, you know, your large joints, your shoulders, your hips, and just go through the motion and then do a few rounds with the next joint, and the next joint, and then things like this for your hands, whether you've got a disability or not. And make a fist and then stretch it out, hold it for a second. Now, if you have pain, stop. You know, if you've got something going on, you never want to push through that pain. There used to be a lot of talk of no pain, no gain. It's a bunch of bull. Don't do it to yourself. It is not a measure of your womanhood or manhood or personhood to be able to work through all this pain. Pain is a warning. So if I bend my wrist like this, it's not particularly painful. If I bend it back like this, it's not, you know, and I can pull my fingers back and it burns a little bit, but it's not like sharp pain. If it's pain, you don't want to go back that far. Repeat the motion and don't go back as far so that you don't have that pain. Because if you're having severe pain when you're doing a motion, that's your joint screaming for help. So you want to exercise as much as you can, but don't force your joints to do something that they are screaming for help about, okay? You know, these are simple motions, and you may think, well, what good is that going to do? That's hardly anything. But it's important that you don't get carpal tunnel from gaming. You know, I've had days that I was intensely gaming for hours at a time, and my hands will get sore, my wrists will get sore. And I decided, well, I need to do something about that. So now, whenever there's a break in my game, I go ahead and I do this stuff. And you may feel silly, if you're with a group of friends and you're doing this, they're like, what are you doing? That looks weird. But you can tell them that I am not getting carpal tunnel because I do this, and encourage them to do it with you. But just be sure and put the caveat in there. Don't force your joint to do something if it hurts. Because, I used to be able to touch my thumb to my forearm when I was younger. I can't do it anymore, but I can get that far. That's probably not normal, but, everybody has something, right? But you don't want to force your hands into a position that is really painful. If you're going inside, no, don't do that. Just repeat it and don't go as far. Stop before there's pain. And then you won't hurt yourself, And if your doctor says don't do an exercise, listen to your doctor or your physical therapist, your occupational therapist, whoever is helping you with your physical disability. Listen to your medical people. And if you feel like you've got a physical therapist that's pushing you too hard, talk to them. Let them know that, hey, that I'm not comfortable going at this pace. Whatever. Tell them exactly what's going on with you, and hopefully they will listen and say, well, we don't have to do as many repetitions, especially if you've had bad experiences with physical therapists in the past, like I have. I haven't been that good at speaking up. When we're disabled, we tend to be stoic. We're like, it doesn't hurt much. And inside we're going, it doesn't hurt much. I'm denying it. So don't do that. When you're talking to your doctor, when you're working with your physical therapist, when you're having a visit from your occupational therapist, don't hide. It's what we do constantly. We want to be normal, so we try to appear as normal as possible, and we don't talk about our disabilities to our coworkers, to our friends. We may have close friends that we reveal that part of ourselves to, but we may get some of, you're a wimp, you need to just grit your teeth, and, they're not disabled. What are they telling you this for? They're not a medical professional. Why are they telling you this? They don't have any right to tell you that. Listen to your medical professionals. And if your friend is telling you that you need to push harder when your medical professionals are telling you to not do that, that friend is not being a very good friend right then. I'm just saying. You need to surround yourself with people who understand what you're going through, and you need to communicate enough that they know what you're going through. And if they don't want to hear it, look for somebody who will listen, because you need friends that are going to help you, not encourage you to hurt yourself. And only your doctor and your medical team and you working together with them, this total wealth of experience and knowledge is what is going to keep you from getting hurt. And that means that all of the people within that circle need to be working together and communicating, and, you need to be giving that input. If something makes you hurt really badly and you don't want to exercise as much the next day, you need to be vocal about that. It doesn't mean that your physical therapist will say, well, you don't need to work as hard today, but you would hope that they would back off a little bit. But the main thing is you want to have somebody who knows what they're talking about advising you. And your friends, bless them, they love you, they think they're doing the best for you, but if they don't have knowledge of your medical conditions and they don't have the training to say how much is too much, then they should not be advising you on exercise, nutrition, what herbs you should take, what medical treatments that are alternative therapies that you should be doing. They should not be advising you, period. You know, there's nothing wrong. My idea about alternative therapies is if it is not going to hurt me, I might try it to see if it works for me. But if it's something that could possibly hurt me, I'm not going anywhere near it. So I am going to, if I'm going to consider, say, an herb or a new way of exercising, acupuncture, acupressure, things like this, I'm going to research it. And I'm going to see if any real studies have been done on it. The problem with most herbs is they are compounds of substances. There are a ton of them. Marijuana has 540 separate chemicals in it. And if you are going to put something in your body, a pharmacist has a program he can run when he gives your prescriptions every month. And he will look at that and say, well, if you're only taking 3 medicines, he can advise you on drug interactions. In other words, maybe effects that are not desirable. Only 3. I take a lot more than that every day. So nobody can tell me that these medicines are not going to have an interaction that's, possibly gonna make me feel bad. So, doctors have to juggle medicines, and they have found through experience what works for most of their patients. But part of that picture is if your doctor wants to prescribe you something, talk with them about the side effects. See if you want to risk that. And if they tell you that most of their patients don't have a complaint about it, then try it. See if it works for you. If you have side effects, tell your doctor about them, because that communication between you and your medical team is so important. And don't let your friends say, oh, I read something on the internet that you're taking this drug and it can give you cancer or whatever. Ask them to give you the link to that. And if they can't give you a link to it, ignore it. Because, I trust my doctor to know about my medications. I don't trust my friends to know about my medications because my friends have not gone to medical school. So, duh. If they don't know anything about medicine, why are they advising you? Just because they saw something on the news, a lot of times people on the news, they do the best they can, bless their hearts. They will write about science, and they will quote a study, and they will give what they think is fact about that study. But unless you learn the jargon and go read the study, you can't really say whether they reported it accurately or not. So, it's good to look at it yourself. Even if you don't understand all the jargon and stuff, if you read the abstract, which is this little summary paragraph, then, you can look up words you don't understand and maybe you can get some meaning out of it. I have looked at a lot of studies. I don't necessarily know all the jargon, but if there's a term I don't quite understand, I'll look it up, or maybe it's explained in the document. Because usually when they use words, they will give what definition of that word applies to this study. So a lot of times in the summary, you usually get a pretty good idea of what the study's about and what conclusions they got from it. So the summary alone is good, but if you really want the meat of it, read the whole study. And if you're not willing to do that, then, go to somebody who is, like your doctor. If you come across something in the news that worries you, keep the link and then talk to your doctor. When you go in, give them that link and say, I found this article and I'm wondering how good it is. And let your doctor look it up and say, oh, this is what they mean. Maybe it doesn't mean what you think it means. So that's why we have doctors, nurses, physical therapists, occupational therapists, and all the other therapists in our lives, because they have studied this stuff. They're familiar with the jargon, they know what terms mean, and they get a lot more meaning out of something like a link to a study than you or I can do without having their experience of being in med school and learning how to diagnose patients and all the things they do in medical school. Because a large part of medical school is not just the book learning, but following a doctor around and seeing how he treats patients. Because you can read about it in a book, but until you're out in the field looking at patients and trying to figure out what's wrong with them and looking at all of them instead of just the medical problem that they have. I really like Dr. Mike. I watch a lot of him on YouTube, and he really has a good rapport with his patients, and he explains things well. And he'll say, here's why I think this. And that's what I like about him. He'll talk about something, and he'll talk about a medical condition or something, and I've watched his videos on some of the medical conditions I've got, and I really think he's very accurate according to what my doctors have told me and what I've read about my condition. Your sources are so important. And I totally got off the subject, so let me get back to physical activity. So before you start, talk to your doctor. If you're taking medicine, you want to know if that medicine affects the way that you respond to physical activity. There are certain medications that you should not be out in the sun, for example. So you need to make sure that if you're going out in the sun to do your exercise, that you're not on any medications that will affect how the sun affects your skin. You need to cover up or whatever. And that's just one example of something that you might have a little trouble with. So, and also you want to, you might talk to a trained exercise professional. Well, I can't afford to go to a fitness center and do that, but if you can afford that, then it might be good to get advice from somebody at a fitness center. Just be sure and compare what they're telling you to what your doctor's telling you, and make sure they've worked with people with your particular disability. And you might check out what they tell you with other members of your medical team. So I'll add that. Aim for 2 hours and 30 minutes a week of moderate intensity aerobic activities. Choose aerobic activities that make your heart beat faster, like walking fast, wheelchair walking, swimming, or raking leaves. So that's cool. And start slowly and do what you can. Even 5 minutes of physical activity has health benefits. Well, it took me at least 5 minutes to walk back and forth between the bedroom and the living room 9 times. So, yeah. So you can build up to more over time. I've been trying to build up since October. I had built up to the point that I could take my walker and I could walk all the way around the block in my mobile home complex. And then I got the appendicitis, and it took me forever to be able to do very much physical activity. So I've been continuing what my physical therapist and occupational therapists were doing with me. But, it's important to realize that you can't just start out and just do flat out what your end goal is and expect it to stick with you and benefit you. You can even hurt yourself doing that. So give your body a break. Don't push it too hard. Just start little. If you have a good experience with physical activity, it'll be a lot easier tomorrow to maybe do just a little bit more. So all this week and last week, every day I go 1 lap more. And it is small, and to some people that might be a ridiculously small amount of exercise, but it's what I can handle. It's what my body can handle right now. And I'm increasing it. So I'm building up strength to go further. So it's important to just do whatever physical activity. Walking is one of the best exercises, I think, that you can do because your risk of injuring yourself is very low. A lot of weekend warriors, I'm talking about normal people who are very physically active, somebody who has a desk job all week and then they do the weekend warrior thing and they go running or they go and hit the gym and they do all this exercise, and before you know it, they're at the doctor with a sports injury. It happens so often. Doctors really warn about this, that you don't want to just go gung-ho and think, oh, I'm just going to kill this machine, and you're going to work out on this machine. And, it is so easy to hurt yourself. And if you've never had an injury, you think you're invincible. Oh yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to prove how strong I am. But if you're not used to that level of physical activity, you can harm yourself. So you want to start out very small. You want to make those experiences pleasant so that you're more likely to form a habit of physical activity. For years, I had a couple of physical therapists that they meant well, but they pushed me really, really hard, and I wasn't that good at communicating to them. I'm really not feeling good about this right now. I didn't tell them how much it hurt. I didn't tell them how uncomfortable I was standing for a long time. I think I've probably got something going on with my blood pressure, because every time I stand up, the longer I'm standing up, I start feeling dizzy and I start feeling a lot of pain and getting nauseated. And, there is a condition that does that, because even as a kid, trying to stand someplace for a long time just really made me sick. So if you've got something like that going on, you've got to let your person working with you know. And I didn't say anything. I just pushed through, and I finally quit physical therapy because I couldn't stand it anymore. I should have just talked to my therapist. Well, the last time, the third time, I did talk to the therapist and he did slack off, but then he had a substitute who pushed me really hard, and I didn't talk to her about it. And I had such a bad experience that I just quit. I'm a bad girl. But, you know, but the last time I had physical therapy, that was the home health people that came to me after I was in the hospital. Both of them, well, all of the people on the team, because there was one person who came and evaluated me, and then I had the 2 people that came every week. And all of them were super, I told them my concerns about physical therapy. I shared my fears with them, which I didn't the other times, and had much better results this time. They were careful to say, I don't want to push you beyond what you feel you can do. You just let me know how you're feeling while you're doing these exercises. I'd never had anybody talk to me like that before. But obviously, if I didn't open up, they wouldn't open up. So communication solves a lot of problems. And the other experiences were many years ago, and I've had better experiences exactly telling it like it is than I did before I revealed that much. It can be very hard to tell your doctor how bad you feel, because you're so used to hiding it. You just have this little shell, this little wall, and you stay behind it and you smile. And if you smile, people will not believe you if you're dying. Seriously. And most of us, I think, know that or kind of feel that deep down. So, we just keep smiling and keep working, and we feel like we're about to faint. Or we feel if we've got to do one more thing, we are going to implode and just be a lump of jelly on the floor. But outside, we're smiling and we're doing it. And you don't get any awards for doing that. Let me tell you, it is much better to be honest with your medical professional. So if you can't get 2 hours and 30 minutes a week, get as much as you can. And that's important because, a lot of times we set a goal and we say, well, I failed at that. And you just say, what's the use? But any physical activity that you can do and you can do on a regular basis will help your health. So, try to stick with it. But make it as pleasant as you can so that you want to stick with it. You know what I mean? And the last bullet point here is find support and stick with it. Bring along a friend, especially if you're trying out a new activity. If you and your friend are going to walk together, it's a lot more pleasant and you will do it more readily if you know your friend is going to be there and you're going to be talking to each other while you're exercising. It's a great way to continue to build on your friendship with your friend, and it's also a wonderful way to get your mind off the discomforts of exercise, because there always are. So, just don't overdo it. Don't let your friend talk you into overdoing it. If they're at a different level of physical activity than you are, maybe they are runners or they go to the gym or whatever, and you don't, just keep explaining to them that, you're at a higher level than me. I can't go that far. And if they say, yes, you can, I did it, you can do it. Say, you're not me. I can't do it. You gotta let me slow down when I need to. And hopefully they'll listen to you. If they won't, find a new partner for your exercise. 'Cause seriously, don't let people push you into doing more than you feel you can physically do. But bringing along a friend is a great idea. And the second one, if you don't meet your physical activity goal, don't give up. Start again tomorrow. You always have a fresh start tomorrow. And it doesn't matter how many times you try it and you just, can't do it that day. That's all right. Start again. Slow down a little, Be active according to your abilities. This is the third bullet point. Remember, any amount of physical activity is better than none. And that's absolutely true. So don't worry if you don't meet your goal. If you think you're going to take 10 steps and you can't quite make that, and you look at the guidelines like on MyFitnessPal, they suggest you start out with 1,000 steps. Not me, honey. But, if you can do however many steps you think you can do, if you can't do that many the first day, don't worry about it. The most important thing is to stay active at whatever level is comfortable for you. So don't worry if you can't do it, because we all do our best, right? You do the best you can do on the day, and some disabilities that are physical, you have better and worse days. In fact, I would say a lot of disabilities, you have better and worse days. But there are some disabilities that are just the same all the time. If you lose a leg, you're not going to regrow another leg. So that part of you is not going to get better. But you can improve the other things that come with that, with exercise, according to what your doctor feels you can do, according to what your physical therapist thinks you can do. And it's a team effort. You have to put the input in. If you're having problems, tell them. Don't be afraid to show weakness, because in our country, it seems like showing weakness is bad. You don't want to show that you're feeling bad because you're afraid that they're going to say, oh, she's just doing that to get attention. I have heard that so many times, and it's not true. I don't like extra attention when I don't feel good. I really hate it. So, I do like people around me when I'm not feeling good, but I don't like lots of people. My daughter is enough. If I'm feeling bad and I need my daughter to sit with me, she's willing to. But I don't ask her to sit with me all day when I'm not feeling good. I don't need that kind of attention. If I needed it, she would give it, but I don't need it. So the idea that if you show weakness, you're attention seeking. Come on. And if you're attention seeking, there's probably a good reason why. Maybe you've been abused, or maybe you are going through a rough time right now. I mean, there are a lot of situations that can make a person feel needy when maybe they normally are not a very needy person. So it's ridiculous that we worry about other people thinking, oh, he's a wimp. He's not strong because he's not just sucking it up. People should change their attitudes about that sort of thing, because all of us are human. Guys are human too, and they get sick. They have rough days, and it's ridiculous to think that just because somebody might accuse you of just wanting attention and there's nothing really wrong with you, that shouldn't stop you from being honest about, well, I worked out yesterday and my arm is so sore. It's okay to say that. Instead of waiting for someone to notice that you're favoring that arm when you pick up something at work, it's better to talk about it. And, if you don't like sympathy, that's not what you're looking for by saying that, okay? You're just saying that, if I'm not seeming as perky today is because I've got a sore arm. It's not because I'm irritated with you or mad at anybody, because physical things affect how you act. And if you're normally bubbly, kidding around with people and all that, and if you're having a bad day with your knee and you just want to lay down, but you have to be at work, and, people might think because you're not smiling as much, maybe you're grumpy. So if you're worried about how you appear to other people, maybe it's just better to just be honest and say, hey, I'm feeling great today, if you are. But if, I've got a sore arm today, it just hurts. So if I look like I'm unhappy, it's not you, it's my shoulder. A simple thing like that can go a long way towards understanding. And it's good for people to know that you're human. I think especially guys get this idea in their heads that, if I show weakness, they'll think I'm a weak leader and that I don't know anything. It totally has nothing to do with that. In fact, some of my favorite bosses I've had in jobs were guys who were willing to admit that, hey, I don't know this. I'm going to go look it up, but I don't know this. I will get back to you on this, or, well, I'm having trouble with so-and-so, so if I don't seem focused, this is why. I love it when people are honest. I love to know what's going on. Not that it's any of my business, but to just know that there's something going on. I don't have to know specifics, okay? But if I know that somebody is having a problem, then maybe I'll save that big project for another day, or another week if it can be put off. I might, give them a little slack, That's how I react. I've not had other people react that way, but everybody's different. But I think it's a good example for people who feel like they've got to hold it all in to let yourself be honest. Because as long as we keep hiding our disabilities, as long as we keep not talking about it, then people will not understand. And they'll be prone to say those thoughtless things like, oh, you just want attention. And it's not that at all. But you can talk it out. So that's the purpose of my channel, to get people talking about disabilities in a friendly, accepting environment. You don't have to believe like I do religiously. You don't have to be heterosexual like me. You don't have to be a Democrat like me. I'm technically not a card-carrying diplomat. I vote for who I think is correct. But, you don't have to agree with me to be my friend. And difference makes the world go round because it increases understanding. If you and I have different beliefs about something, we can talk about it. We can share what our point of view is. We can listen to those who are sharing a different point of view and both come away with an understanding, as long as you're not arguing your point to the point that everybody gets mad. You can express your opinion, but you can do it in a way that is non-threatening to other people. And that's what I'm all about. If you've got a different opinion from something I say here, get on there and tell me about it. I want to hear it, because I want to understand different points of view. And if I have a view that you don't agree with, I hope that you will listen to my point of view, but I'm not trying to change your opinion about it. If you have strong opinions the other way, you're still my friend. It's all right. It's all right. We need to have more acceptance. Difference is not bad. It's just different. And we can agree to disagree. I have very strong opinions on a lot of things, but I'm not going to say to you that you shouldn't have your opinion because my opinion is better than yours. That's not the way to be. That's a childish way to be. We need to talk. We wouldn't have so many wars if people would just sit down and talk and not be like, well, you have to believe this. Let's talk and promote understanding. And if there are strong disagreement points, let's try to find something in the middle. Compromise is what greases relationships. You know, it makes everything work out more smoothly. So I encourage you to think about the strong opinions you have, not to say that you don't have them or to say that they're better than someone else's who doesn't believe that, but to make room saying, okay, I feel this way, and it's okay for other people to feel the other ways. And if we all accept each other, the world will be a better place. So my disabled thought then on the subject of staying active and having disabilities is look for stuff that agrees with your point of view. You know, we know scientifically that exercise improves health to a certain point. I mean, you can overdo it and you can injure yourself. So with increased physical activity comes a little risk of injury. But if you're smart about it, you won't get hurt. You except if something unexpected happens. But I'm talking about the risk of getting hurt is a lot smaller than the risk of staying inactive, getting heart disease, getting problems with your vascular system, your brain. You know, it is much easier to do a little physical activity every day and in a way that doesn't overwhelm you, whether it's painful or whether it's uncomfortable in some way. I mean, there's a lot of other miseries besides pain. You know, if you break out in a cold sweat when you stand up, yeah, exercise is going to be really tough for you. So it's a balance. It's a balance between what your medical people are saying and what you want. And if you can only do part of your exercise routine a particular day, at least you've got that in and you got your heart pumping a little bit. So, you know, be wise about your exercise. Okay? Get medical advice before you start. Start slow and work your way up. And don't let anybody tell you that this is what you have to do, because there are shades of gray in every argument. Nothing is just black and white, you know? So think about, listen to your body as you exercise. If you're feeling a pain that is not normal for you, slow down or, you know, try it again, see if you can do it a different way and it doesn't hurt, it's not as uncomfortable. And if it's still just as uncomfortable, maybe you want to stop for the day. Maybe let them know if you have problems. Write it down and bring it up at the next doctor visit, because you don't want to do something that's going to hurt you and outweigh the benefit of your exercise. To get the most benefit from your exercise, you've got to listen to your body. Only you know how much it hurts when you do whatever. Your doctor can guess at how much pain you've got, but really he's depending on you, or he or she is depending on you to tell them. So you have to learn to communicate your pain, your discomfort to the medical people in your life. And it's especially hard when you've got that habit of putting on that smile, even though you are dying inside, because other people don't understand your disability. And that's a fact that all of us that are disabled have to live with. But the medical people in your life, that's the last place you want to put on your little smiley face. You want to let them know how you are feeling, and if you've got symptoms, you need to be frank about those. Tell them how much they interfere with something that you want to do. Because if they don't understand how bad your discomfort or pain is, they cannot help you, period. They will advise you to do things that will be extraordinarily painful, uncomfortable, and you will decide that you just can't exercise. And you don't want to give up on exercise because of that. You want to make sure that you're letting everybody know how uncomfortable you are so they can adjust their advice to the new situation, new to them. So that's my advice to you. You know, before you're going to exercise, see a medical professional. Let them know how uncomfortable or painful you are so that they can help you decide what a reasonable level of exercise is. And don't let your friends try to get you to not do what you and your team, your medical team, have decided. You know, just tell them, look, I have a doctor, I have a physical therapist, whatever people you've got, you can name them off and say, we decided this program together. Where's your medical degree? You know, or maybe not that confrontive, but, you know, let them know in no uncertain terms that you have a medical team and you and your medical team have talked about these things. And that's why your exercise program is where it's at. Don't let your friends push you into doing more than you know from this contact with your medical team is too much for you right now. You may be able to work into that later. But so many people decide that, you know, oh, if you're not doing this, it doesn't count. Because they've been told that. Because they've had experiences that have shaped their response. So try to be nice to them too, because maybe they've had a hard time and they haven't had the, maybe they haven't been part of a medical team. Maybe they don't have a regular doctor. You know, if people lack medical care, then they go on old wives' tales or what their friends said or whatever, and they may not pick the best sources on the internet to find out about things, and they may self-diagnose, and it might not be what they thought it was. So, you know, try to be well informed. You know, if your doctor tells you you have a condition, it's good to read up a little bit about it when you first get the diagnosis, or maybe refresh your knowledge every once in a while. But don't try to diagnose yourself on the internet. Don't try to push yourself harder than you feel you can do. Just because a friend said that, oh, you need to be doing it more times or longer for more minutes or whatever. Friends want to help you, and that's what motivates them to say things like this. So try not to be angry with them. Just tell them, I don't feel I can do more than this today. Maybe tomorrow I can do more. And leave it at that. Love your friends, love your medical team, and spread love to other disabled people. And until I see you tomorrow, this is Granny Handicap, aka Dennis Cole. I've enjoyed being with you tonight, and I've had some new folks tonight. Thank you. Let me take one more look at the chat before I go and see. Academy Impossible, Fix Lovin', and Violet's TV have been with me tonight. Hello, and thank you for being with me and listening to me. And I appreciate y'all. Take care of yourself, and I'll be talking about some different disability topic tomorrow night from 8 to 10. Y'all take care, and I will see you another time. Good night.